All right, so my name's Claire. I'm from the Therapist Network, and I'm currently doing some work with Rebecca Bell, who is a divorce coach. I'm just going to ask you today, Rebecca, a few things about what you do and how you help people. Welcome.
Hi Claire, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
Very well, thanks. Lovely to be here.
Good. So introduce yourself and tell me a bit about what you're doing currently.
My name's Rebecca and I'm an accredited divorce coach. I have been a solicitor for 21 years, specialising in family law and mainly in collaborative law. So I'm very accustomed to dealing with your problems and helping you throughout this difficult process in a collaborative way. I went into the collaborative law because I felt that the court process is very stressful, very expensive, and can be very harmful to people, and particularly to your children, who are, of course, most important in your lives at this difficult time. The collaborative process enabled us to shorten the time, to spend time liaising across the table with your partner to achieve an outcome that both of you were comfortable with and that ultimately was in the best interests of all your children. Cool. From that, it naturally led on to me thinking about another move. And I wanted to try something different, but not totally different. So I'm offering you this service whereby I'm an accredited divorce coach. I know the system, I know the process, and I can understand the emotions that you go through and have gone through. I can help with that by trying to empower you through this difficult time. I work with lawyers, not against them. I've got a good network of lawyers that I've met over the years and have built up excellent relationships with them. I can help you to understand the jargon. I can help you with your emotions with valuable techniques that you can practice with me in the session and at home to empower you to move on with your lives and to get through this process to achieve the happiness that you and your children deserve.
Cool. So what might be some of the misconceptions about divorce coaching then? Because I should imagine that a lot of people would just be, okay, we're in this situation. And I remember when I was going through my divorce, it was you look online and you'd get like the divorce information from the government, and it just says it's very practical and logical, and it's very much, oh, you do this, you do this, you do this, and they have to fill in that form and you have to fill in this form. And some of the wording on it is a bit, I didn't really understand what it meant. So I just filled it in as best as I could. So I'm lucky I didn't need, there was no contesting for my divorce, no children involved. So it was pretty cut and dry for me. But I imagined at that time that if we had children, if we had shared finances, that we then would have needed to look at hiring a solicitor to get us through that. And I would have found that quite a scary experience because I know nothing about these sort of things. So I guess in that scenario, I would have been perhaps, an ideal kind of client for you. Why would somebody need a divorce coach if they already have a solicitor? What's the difference?
You're not alone, Claire. People don't understand the process, and why should they? It's filled with jargon, it's not clear, there's endless forms to fill in, and life is so difficult anyway at this moment. Whether you've chosen to have a divorce or whether the divorce is being thrust upon you, either way, it's heartbreaking. We understand that. The lawyers help with the practical side of things. I help with the emotional side of things. That way, I can help you unpick your emotions to understand where you are. We explore what you might want from this, even difficult things that at the moment, when you feel so immobilized, you can't think, I don't want to sell the house, I don't want to do this. We can look at that. We can work with your lawyer to see what they're advising and what's possible. And then we can explore that in a safe environment to look at other options for you, just to see what they feel like, so that you feel stronger and able to face that. And when you go to your lawyer, you can use the time productively. You don't need to spend as much time with them. And you can help the lawyer by having a clearer idea of what you want. You go away and practice your techniques, which enable you to do this. So hopefully you can see, Claire, it's a very different experience from the lawyer. We work together, but we're not the same.
Yeah. So it's like you're the yin to their yang or something like that. I really like the way that you said clearer then, because that's what popped into my head. So when I'm stressed, or I have anxiety, or something big's going on. Let's face it, a divorce is a big deal. It's something big that happens. It's a life-changing thing that happens for everybody involved. And I know that when I'm stressed out and I'm going through something really difficult, my brain gets all foggy. Things that usually are simple to me now seem like difficult to do. And then you're thrown with all this jargon and information that you don't understand. I can imagine that clarity is the thing that's really important. Does that then make the process not only more human and more manageable, but does it make the process quicker somehow if you then know, as your client, if they know what they're doing and have that clarity?
Absolutely. Clarity is key, isn't it? It's in all things. If you have an understanding of what the process is, and you have an understanding of how you feel about the process, then you're in the best situation that you can be to empower through this. You've got an understanding of what you want. You've got an understanding of where you want to be. You've got techniques to help you manage your ex as well, and which may be difficult for you. And if you're having a better relationship with them during this process, then the outcome should be better as well, which is what I found in the collaborative law, where we sat round the table with coffee and talked about this with the two lawyers present. That way, you were able to control what happened in your own divorce by explaining your feelings to your partner to get that communication going. And this is similar. It's about communication. It's about clarity. Some people go through horrendous divorces, and I'm not trying to say that everybody can sit around the table and sort this out. Of course they can't. That's what courts are for. But that's also where this role as divorce coach is probably even more vital for you. Because if you can control yourself and you have clarity about what you want, and you can put that distance between you and the frightening letters that are coming from your solicitors, your ex's solicitor, you've got that emotional life jacket on. And that will help you when you're feeling low and stressed and immobilized by everything, that you can understand what's going on, that this is a process. It's a horrible process, but it's a process and you will get through it. But the more clarity you have to know what you want, the better it will be for you. And ultimately, at the end of the day, when you emerge from this process, which you will.
And I guess that's, you know, there's two things that popped up for me there as well, which was one is that I like the emotional life jacket thing, because that can be a difficult process. But one of the things I was going to ask you is that, do you think that sometimes this process might even help people avoid court sometimes, in certain circumstances?
Absolutely. I mean, as a solicitor, that's what I tried to do anyway, when there was a chance that people could sit around the table and negotiate. The courts are actually encouraging people to do that now. You may have seen in the press that Dominic Raab is trying to introduce something to penalise couples who don't settle by sanctioning them with fines. That's just another stress. There's no need to do that. Yes, in some cases there is, absolutely there is, but in most cases not. So this will help you realise that you don't have to go to court. A lot of people come to me and think court's the only option. It's not.
Especially if there's kids involved, right?
Especially if there's kids involved, yeah, that's the main thing. It doesn't benefit everyone to do that. And communication and clarity is key here to getting the outcome that you want.
So I think I've got a good understanding of it now. So basically what you do is that you can help people understand the process, to feel calmer about it, to have more clarity about it. I'm imagining you can help with the paperwork, that sort of thing. So while you're not giving legal advice, that's clear, because their solicitor is for that when they need one. What you're doing is just providing like the kind of, almost like the friend, but the one that has the inside knowledge. Does that make sense? That's the kind of feeling that I've got, is that you're the one that's going, okay, yeah, so your lawyer might put it this way, what they really mean is this, but obviously from a legal term, that's how it has to be said. This is what it really means in non-legalese or whatever. And then you can, because I think for me, knowledge can be power. And so if the person you're helping can understand the process, maybe understand some of the language, maybe even avoid court altogether, but if they can't avoid it, I'm assuming you can help them with that as well. And then, yeah, just make it much less stressful than it otherwise might be. Yeah.
That's absolutely it. Yeah. just trying to empower you to get through this and to emerge from it, knowing what you want from life, but assisting you, supporting you, being that friend, having a breakup team around you, working with you as to who is going to be in that breakup team. What sort of solicitor do you want? Have you got an independent financial advisor? Because that's going to be important as well. Go and talk to these people. Have a good friend who's able to help you. Friends are great, but they sometimes come with their own emotion and their own experiences, which isn't always helpful. Pick the friend who is going to be able to empower you and to support you. And I'll be that third, fourth, fifth, other person.
The team.
The team, the breakup support team who's there for you at this time.
So there was a bit that you said there about what kind of solicitor is right for you. So would you say it's probably a good idea to get in touch with you before you've got your solicitor sorted, so that you could perhaps, help them to pick the right solicitor for them? Because I would just assume that there was one kind, you'd go on Google and it'd be the one at the top of the list or whatever. But it sounded to me like there might be different types of solicitor or lawyer that's right for their particular set of circumstances.
That's right. I mean, if you type in solicitors in your area, you're going to be overwhelmed by the sheer number of solicitors that are available. And how do you know which is the right one? I'm not going to recommend people, but I can't do that. But what I can do is talk to you and find out what sort of solicitor you want. Look at your ex's personality. What sort of solicitor do you think they're going to get? Do you want a collaborative one? Do you want to try that? Because I can explain to you about that process. There's lots of mediators out there. Let's chat about that and see whether you and your ex can go to mediation. Arbitration is another non-court process that you can go through. I can explain all of this to you to narrow down the options to see what kind of solicitor you feel that you need. And therefore, yes, I think you're right. To come before you've gone and seen a solicitor would be a good time to start, but it really doesn't matter. If you've got your solicitor on board, then I can come in at that point. Or any time during the process.
Excellent. Yeah. So, I mean, from my point of view, what was going through my head there was like, this is also not always a cheap process. And a divorce coach may seem like an added expense, but the way I've just, come to understand it there is that this could even work out cheaper in the long run, because you're not going to waste money with the wrong solicitor necessarily, or finding, having to go through more than one, or having extra meetings or extra time having to pay for them because you don't understand the process and they need to find the time to teach you or explain it to you, or may even not have that ability themselves and just want to, do their job and get it done. And that's not to say there's anything wrong with solicitors. That's what they're good at. That's what solicitors are for, isn't it? But, from the bystanding point of view, I can imagine that, I want you to do that job and get it done, but I want to know what that job is so that we can do it efficiently.
That's right. Yes, I think you're right. That's what I'm aiming to do, to show that we work as a team, as I said at the beginning, with the solicitor, not against them. You might not have a solicitor, that's a matter for you, but assuming that you do, my role would be to work with them. And it could be cheaper because, as I've said, it would give you clarity to enable you to work through what you want. You may not always get what you want, but with the advice from the solicitor, you will have ideas of what options are available to you. They may not be palatable, but we explore them. We use techniques so that you can just see how it feels like if life was going to go down a different path, and empower you to be able to move towards that.
So you look not just at the divorce in its own little bubble, but as the person's life as a whole, how it might be going through the process and what it might look like afterwards.
Even, yes, post-divorce as well, moving on to your next partner, which may not be something you're thinking of right now, where you are, I understand that, but ultimately that may be what you choose to do. So it's looking at what you want from the future to get the future that you choose to have with these empowering techniques, and just looking at things differently, things that you may currently be doing in an unconscious way, accepting things that you feel you have no choice about. You have a choice, you've always got a choice, and that's what we're going to look at through this process.
Brilliant. Oh, that sounds really good, actually. It's almost like a comfort, the emotional life jacket. I think I really liked that term. That's great. So if somebody is thinking about maybe using your service as a divorce coach, they know that they've got this process coming up or they're in the middle of it already. Do you offer like any kind of, discovery call or first meeting or something like that if they're not sure to get to know you a bit or something like that?
Yeah, I'd welcome that actually. It's important that you have the coach that's right for you. So I offer a 20-minute discovery call. It's free. We can have a chat about it and just talk about what you would gain from this process and whether it's right for you and whether I'm right for you. I hope it is, but please make that call.
Brilliant. Well, it's been lovely speaking to you, Rebecca. Thank you for explaining what you do. It makes a lot more sense to me now than it did before. It's been really helpful. Great. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Claire.